Hey folks, this episode is sponsored by Squarespace. We made a great website using Squarespace, and you can too, now with the best features Squarespace has ever offered. Like Design Intelligence, which uses AI technology to help you get the exact design specifications you need. And Squarespace Payments, the easiest way to manage your sales in one place. Go to squarespace.com/WTF for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code WTF to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/WTF, offer code WTF.
Lock the gate!
All right, let's do this. How are you, what the fuckers, what the fuck buddies, what the fuck nicks? What's happening? I'm Marc Maron. This is my podcast, WTF. Welcome to it. Welcome to all you people that have been here for a long time. Some of you new people that have a lot of catching up to do. Look, you guys, I don't know if you know this, or why would you? Maybe some of you would, but WTF, this podcast, will turn 16 years old on September 1st. That's a couple months away. 16 years. It's a long time. And it's a long time to do anything. And it's certainly, I've said recently that I know when I'm living it, I don't feel like time is passing by quickly, but yeah, all of a sudden, you know, you're old and you realize you've been doing something a long time. And this started, you know, the old garage, just no one knew what a podcast was. I was coming out of a horrendous divorce. I was wanting to figure out how to continue living my life. Things were not looking good for me. Brendan McDonald, my producer, who I'd worked with for years on other things, radio and streaming related. And when Brendan and I started this thing, all we knew is we were going to do it every Monday and Thursday, and there was no way to make money. There was no way that we knew how to build an audience or anything. And it was crazy. We were doing it in a garage at the beginning that was just a garage. It was filled with junk. And it slowly evolved into the show that became what you listen to twice a week. 16 years we've been doing this. And we've decided that we had a great run. And now basically it's time, folks. It's time. WTF is coming to an end. And it's our decision. We'll have our final episode sometime in the fall. It was not some kind of difficult decision necessarily. Neither me nor Brendan, who are the only people in charge of this operation, on every level. I record it here in my garage studio. Brendan produces it in his chair in Brooklyn. And it's always been a two-man operation. And we always said, well, how do we know when we're done? And I always said, well, whenever Brendan says so. And he always said, well, if Marc, is finished, then we're finished. And thankfully, we both realized together that we were done. And there was no convincing or pushback or arguing. We were done, and it's okay. It's okay for things to end. 16 years. And we have been through a lot. And I'm talking about me and you, the audience, me and Brendan, me and my life, me and my cats, me with my guests, me with, my equipment, me with, moving and things change. But you've been through the entire arc of my life and everything that's happened in it for the last 16 years. And a lot of it was not easy. A lot of it was amazing. A lot of monumental things really happened on this show. And this was a show that was started when there were no podcasts. And now there are nothing but podcasts. It's been an incredible time. in my life, in Brendan's life. We've done things that we never thought we would be able to do. Because of the podcast, my life changed dramatically. All the things that I set out to do before I did the podcast as sort of a Hail Mary pass, to be a stand-up with an audience, to try my hand at acting, to have experiences with other people that were, one of a kind and completely exciting and unique and engaging and revealing, to talk to a president in my garage. So many things happened because of just this setting up a mic in my garage with Brendan, on the knobs, producing it, discussing with him how we do it all. It was a real creative partnership. And you, the audience, have been here through all of it. And I shared everything I could with you because that's the way I do it, and with my guests. And there have been so many amazing guests. And it really comes down to the fact that we have put up a new show every Monday and Thursday for almost 16 years, and we're tired. We're burnt out. And we are utterly satisfied with the work we've done. We've done great work. And this doesn't mean I'm never going to do something like this again. Doesn't mean I'll never, have talks like I do here or some kind of podcast at some point in time. But for now, we're just, we're wrapping things up. It's okay. It's okay to end things. It's okay to try to start some other chapter in your life. And I'm talking to myself. This podcast has been my connection to you people. It's been my connection socially to people in my business, people I never thought I'd meet before, creative people, interesting people. It's a very big part of my spiritual, social, and psychological life. But I'll be honest with you, it's nice to be able to end things on our terms. And we've always had that power to do that. And that's what we're going to do. We started the show on our terms. We grew it on our terms, and we'll end it on our terms. Look, we've had great partners who have helped us do the show over the years. Acast has been our partner for the past 3 years, and we've been able to do things on our terms with them. We always had that, and it's always been the way we've done it, and that's been great. And we've been very fortunate to be able to do things the way we want to do them. And now this is part of it, is ending it the way we want it to end. And look, the thing about burnout, about being tired, and about the way me and Brendan are, is that we are very focused and very particular and very hardworking in this endeavor. And the quality of the work we've done, every fucking episode is its own greatness, because we're crazy, dedicated guys who really want this to be the best show that it can be. I bring what I bring to the table. Brendan brings what he brings to the table. And, God forbid, we just keep plowing along and something diminishes. And we wouldn't want to just keep plugging along because we can, at the risk of our burnout or our sort of like, passion, starts to drift, or it starts to get sloppy. We're just not those kind of people. And look, I've got a lot of stuff going on. I've got a lot of projects going on, and we're still going to be doing this for the next several months. And we'll try to have as many people on as possible. Many people that maybe want to do it, never did do it, or people that maybe will do it now that, this is the sort of like home stretch. But I do want to sincerely thank all you people, for being along on this journey with me and with Brendan and with all the guests, because we really did something here. And I want to thank you all for that. This isn't a sign off, but that's the big news. And I'm sure we'll talk about it more in the weeks to come. I'm sure that you guys will want to chime in. But just for now, thank you for being here, as always. And it's going to be There's probably going to be some ups and downs over the next few months with me emotionally around the reality of this. But it's done with this is a full-hearted decision. It's the right decision for me. It's the right decision for Brendan. It's okay. It's okay for things to end. It's just time, folks. But again, we'll have a few more months, so don't get all bummed out. Let's just enjoy it. The world is on fire. I have people I want to talk to. We'll find a little joy. We'll find a little connection. We'll find a little solace in each other's company. We'll learn some things. We'll get some laughs. We'll cry a little bit. And, we'll move on. That being said, the first guy to hear about it was my guest on the show today, who's a good guest for this particular episode. John Mulaney is here, and he's been listening to this show since the very beginning. He was also on episode 551 and episode 743. He's been through a lot since then, I would say. He's currently hosting the Netflix talk show Everybody's Live with John Mulaney, which had its season finale last week. So yeah, I get to break the news to John. Also, I wanted to mention this: the documentary "Are We Good?" the screening at the Tribeca Film Festival in New York City next month. That's a documentary about me. There are two screenings. Saturday, June 14th at 5 p.m. That's at the OKX Theater on Chambers Street. Then Sunday, June 15th at 5:30 p.m. It's screening at the Village East on 2nd Avenue and 12th Street. You can go to WTFpod.com/tour to get tickets for that. And oddly, in the current cut of the documentary, it is not brought up that we are retiring the show. But I'm excited. I'm excited. There are things going on. I mean, I just went to the premiere of Stick. That's the show I'm in with Owen Wilson. I will tell you about that. Will I? Yes, I will. First, though, I was just talking last week about the great heroes of art and culture I've encountered in my life, all the things that celebrate freedom of expression and diversity of creativity, the stuff that expanded my worldview and helped me see life through other people's eyes. Yeah, like Art Crumb comics, underground art, weird music like The Residents, so much stuff. I can't imagine where I'd be without all the things that took me to that edge of human expression. And it's a damn shame to see people trying to steamroll and bury the arts. You don't need me to tell you that the arts are experiencing funding cuts that are unprecedented. So it's more important than ever to have places like BAM that are keeping the arts thriving and vibrant, just like they've been doing for more than 160 years. I just filmed my comedy special at BAM, so you probably heard me talk about how great the venue was, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. BAM is a world-renowned hub of theater, music, opera, visual arts, films, literature, and of course, its cutting-edge dance programs. This is North America's oldest performing arts center, and when you give to BAM, you invest in the future of a unique artistic community. You help make their iconic spaces accessible to all. You help create a welcoming home for diverse programming, and you ensure that there is always a place for artistic risk and innovation. Give to BAM today. Go to bam.org/support, because this is where we're at. You know, it's going to be on us. It's going to be on people that have the means to donate to places that still represent what a democratic, creative world looks like. It's scary. I think about it every day now. I really think about it every day. Like all the things that were important to me coming up, all the things that built my brain, all the weirdness, and there's no end to it. To the type of music I was turned on to, the type of writing I was turned on to, some of it fringe stuff, some of it just, people that really lived on the creative edge, that had that had personal weird tragedies and lives that were able to document it and talk about it and make it into art. So please, if you can, if you have the means to donate to these places, please do it. Please do it. bam.org/support. As I said, working in that space was amazing to me. So look, in terms of the future, I seem to have a lot of things going on. I did go to the premiere of this new show, this new Apple show that I'm on with Owen Wilson, which premieres June 4th I think they're going to drop 3 episodes, and they had a nice little red carpet event at the AMC in Century City with all the cast there and the producers and the writers and everybody on the crew. It was kind of great. Got dressed up in the one suit I have. I have actually 2 suits. But the thing is, I had never seen it. I didn't watch any of the cuts. I was trying to do what Owen does. Owen doesn't watch anything he's been in, ever. He's never seen anything he's been in. I talked to him about that. I understand that, but, like I did this independent movie that I wanted to see the rough cut in case I had any suggestions. I was a producer on it, and he was also a producer, but I guess of Stick. But he explained it to me. He said, look, that fight scene that you and I had, I remember it as like the greatest fight scene ever, because it was not a real like stunt-driven fight scene. It was an emotional explosion between 2 old friends. He says, I just remember that as great. Why not just hold on to that? And I respect that. So he actually went out during the screening itself. He went out with his brother Luke to get something to eat. And, I watched it, and I got to say, it's going to be a touching series. I feel like I did pretty well in it. I feel like I did the character. I represented myself. I was doing some new things for me in terms of acting and how I was approaching it. But I got to be honest with you. This series is a heartfelt, heart-wrenching experience, and the comedy balances out the emotions pretty well. I think people are going to enjoy it. I think you're going to enjoy it. And it doesn't matter if you don't know anything about golf, because, I didn't, and I'm in it. And sometimes when they're interviewing me on the junket, all these outlets are interviewing me about my relationship with golf, I almost feel like I should lie, but I don't. I did learn enough, I think, to portray the guy that I portrayed. I didn't need to step up and look like a real golfer, but I think I could look like a real caddy if necessary. But mostly in this show, I was an emotional caddy, I think, for a lot of the characters. But all that said, I do recommend you watch it because I think it is a very human and a very moving series. In a rare turn, all the characters kind of transform. All the characters change. And that's really what you want from an arc of a story about any character, is that they do change. And this is a kind of found family. Is that what you call it? A kind of makeshift family of underdogs who are kind of moving towards self-realization and trying to let go of some things. And it's kind of a beautiful thing. Feeding yourself is hard enough sometimes, but what about when you have a whole family of mouths to feed? If that sounds familiar, it might be time to streamline dinner time with Home Chef. Choose from more than 35 meals and 18 extras per week, including kids-themed special meal kits. Home Chef delivers fresh ingredients and chef-designed recipes conveniently to your doorstep to simplify your cooking experience. Users of leading meal kits have rated Home Chef #1 in quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease. For my type of diet, this week's menu has stuff like the roasted Korean tofu with mushrooms and snow peas, or the veggie lover stir fry with noodles and peanut sauce. But you can take a look at the menu and find out what's best for you. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering WTF listeners 18 free meals plus free dessert for life, and of course, free shipping on your first box. Go to homechef.com/WTF. That's homechef.com/WTF for 18 free meals and free dessert for life. Stop trying to figure out what to make for dinner and open the door for Home Chef. Again, that's homechef.com/WTF, and you must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. Free dessert. 16 years, you guys. Wow. It's going to be fun, though. I do think we're going to have a little, as much as I'm capable of, this will be a bit of a party. Is that possible? Is that overselling it? Is that it's going to be good. And John Mulaney, I did his show. I did that Everybody's Live with John Mulaney. Had a nice time, and it's always nice to talk to him. I haven't talked to him. I think everybody else has about what he went through with getting sober. I imagine we're going to get into that a bit. Everybody's Live with John Mulaney just wrapped last week. I couldn't make the wrap party. because I was doing a press junket for Stick. I don't know if it's clear whether he's going to do more, but they're all there if you want to watch them, and they're pretty fucking unique and odd. This is me talking to John Mulaney and breaking the news. This is an ad by BetterHelp, and BetterHelp is trying to do something that I've been trying to do on this show for a long time: destigmatize men's mental health care needs. 6 million men in the U.S. suffer from depression every year, and it's often undiagnosed. A big reason for that is the pressure around asking for help. But listen, it's okay to struggle. Real strength comes from opening up about what you're carrying and doing something about it so you can be at your best for yourself and everyone in your life. If you're feeling the weight of the world, talk to someone. Anyone. Could be a friend, a loved one, or even a therapist. I've been going to therapy lately because I knew it was time. BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Plus, switch therapists at any time. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/WTF. That's BetterHelp.com/WTF. Heavy shit, man. Jacques Derrida.
Yeah.
I mean,
felt like I took a crack at Derrida and Foucault and those writers in college.
Yeah.
And all I can do is say their names. And I'm like, we're pretty smart people.
no, I know we tried. We
tried. So
I think
what were they doing is the real question.
Well, I think you have to be it's part of a evolving language of philosophy.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to read the Heidegger and you're not going to read the Kant,
yeah,
it's hard to make the jump right into the Derridas and the Foucaults.
Yes, they have deceptive introductions, I feel like. I often
sure, like
lulled
this is
into
for
things,
everybody.
like I'm going to be able to handle this one.
No,
and then, yeah.
It's literally a different language.
Yes, it is.
And I think the most accessible one was that Baudrillard. I think
Don't know it at all.
You can read that guy.
Okay.
He's of the same ilk, but he was a little more poetic, and he dealt with things that you can kind of see in life as opposed to think. Yeah, what was his first name? Jean Baudrillard. They actually made one of his coffee table book. Yeah, I was kind of obsessed with knowing that stuff, but not unlike you, I possessed the books.
I possess the books, I possess the desire, and I carry myself as if I've read them.
I think that's your great trick, John.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would like to give off that I have read those and thought about those.
I think the more I see of your show, the more I realize we're similar. It's like it only takes one album to make people believe that you know all of it.
100%.
So we have to open in a very specific way, and you're the first person I think I've said this out loud to, but this episode, I will have said in the intro before I talk to you that we are ending the podcast.
Whoa!
I know.
Mark!
I know.
I'm shocked.
We've got some time. It's in the fall.
Okay.
But my producer and partner in this endeavor, Brendan, and I have agreed on the decision to put it to rest.
Congratulations.
Thanks, buddy.
That's awesome.
It's 16 years, man.
It's 16 years.
And look at I feel like I've partially done an amazing thing for culture, but on the other side of that, I feel like I've released the Kraken.
Oh, that's interesting. Well,
it was bound to happen.
I think it was bound. I think the Kraken just,
is going to come out no matter what.
Yeah, was going to come out no matter what, and you it's no longer
it's always
AM radio.
So. Well, it's always twofold when you're at the beginning of a new medium. Yeah. There's a lot of like, wow, this is the freedom of it. And, I think those words are said before anything turns into a horrendous, malevolent force.
The freedom of it. Yeah.
But yeah, so
Yeah, before you build a commune in Idaho, you remark upon
Isn't this amazing?
the wide open land.
Oh, yeah.
We could start a neo-Nazi commune here.
Or even
There's so much land.
any kind. Like, we are free to think and feel the way we feel.
Yeah, finally.
And now that's over, and you have to
Finally
drink.
a
Everyone
space.
must drink this at the same time.
Our ambitions have exceeded our space in San Francisco. Guyana looks nice. It's beautiful down there.
Yeah.
Plus, no meddling relatives. So finally, that's like what we thought of.
Out of the reach of
networks, yeah.
Congress.
Out of the reach of notes and networks.
Yeah. Oh, that's exactly right. Have you? But so you're the first to kind of know. You're the first guest.
Congratulations, man.
Well, that's a nice way to frame it. I appreciate that. I think we've done an amazing thing. I don't think we live in a time where people of my generation and slightly older know how to move on from anything or stop.
Do you feel like you're kind of making yourself stop for the exercise of it?
No, I feel like, we've done our bit. We've done all right. It worked out okay for us in terms of we've always done a great show. The quality and the audience has remained steady and high. And I just think there's no shame in saying like, all right, well, we did it. And we did a great bunch of work.
Well, yeah.
And I don't really know what this means for me when I do have a few months, but I do have to try to wrap my brain around what it means.
Yep.
In terms of like, this is most of my social life. Like, you wouldn't be here if you didn't.
I'm
Sure. I mean, maybe I say, hey, John, I got something I need you to talk about. It's vague. And I just, could you come over?
Let's just look at each other and talk for an hour.
Yeah, we could do that. And I like doing that, but it is a big part of my life and has been for a long time. And I don't really know what it feels like to not have it.
I know, because you have been so consistent. What's the longest stretch you ever took off?
Well, we don't take any off because we do 2 new shows every week, and we have for 16 years.
Yeah.
So no matter, even if, Brendan takes a vacation, I don't vacation much, but I'm on the road. I'm recording the things.
Yeah.
There was a period there where I was interviewing people out there and, doing the intro. So this job and this passion of these conversations, was a big part of my life. And I don't know what you're like with a resting mind. Has it ever happened? Be honest.
Had a resting mind?
Yes.
I have had. Yes, I had full. I think I had a pretty full period of. You can't talk your way out of this. You have to sit in this. But looking
That's
back,
different.
It might have been a few months only.
Yeah, but it's a little.
Oh, resting mind, like a peaceful resting mind.
Well, just sort of like, okay, I've decided to. Like, in relation to the post bottom hitting, now I've got to rebuild, own up, and try not to do any more damage.
Yeah, I don't know why I answered like that, because clearly, you're talking about a more.
We've done this amazing amount of work.
Yeah.
Culture has changed. We've gotten older. We've done all we can. We're satisfied. We're okay. But it's been a primary part of my life. For this amount of time, and now that's going to be gone.
100%.
And I know, even if I just do stand-up, like working towards this special I just shot, that's 2 years, a year and a half of pounding that shit out.
Yeah.
And now, I did it, and there's that moment where I'm like, well, you know what? I'm going to just take a break. In 3 days, I'm fucking at the store.
Of course.
So, but this is going to be different, because after we stop this, I'm like, I don't have a producer. I don't have the bookers. I guess I could still sit here on the mics, but I'm not going to do that without my creative partner. And I don't know that I need to, but it's going to be interesting, because I guess the point was, if I sit with myself for very long, it's not good upstairs.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, what does your brain do?
I'm trying to think the longest amount of time I've.
Does it go to somewhere in the zone of like, I'm a piece of shit? Or
I forget what I do, and I go like, what is my job? I go to the gym sometimes.
Yeah. I make coffee.
I make coffee, and like.
But now you got the kids, so there's always that.
There's that too, but in front of them when I've had a month or two.
Yeah.
Why
is Daddy sitting on the couch so long?
Yeah, why does he have so much time for us?
Yeah.
Oh, he really thought about building this city out of blocks. This is troubling.
It's much better than
I was actually more dialed into building a city out of foam blocks the other day than my son. And he moved on, and I was like, well, why don't we make a walkway? Because I can't get this building higher, but we can make a walkway to a different building. He was like, nah, yeah.
It's good.
Let's go to Discovery Cube. Yeah.
How old's that kid now?
He's 3. But getting back to you for a second,
Yes, sir.
was there an interview or an episode or a jag of interviews where you started to go, oh, I'm going to hang this up? And if so, who were they?
Yeah. No, not really. You know, everything is like, I don't know from one interview to the next what's really going to happen. So there's always that element of surprise.
Yeah.
And I do get anxious and sort of somewhat dreading every one because I really don't know what's going to happen. So there's been moments where it's been a job.
Yeah.
But it wasn't interview specific.
Okay.
It was just sort of like, we're kind of short on interviews. We're going to have to do 5 this week.
Right. Yeah.
And then, and there've been ones that have been disappointing in that I couldn't get through or whatever, but not, it was never, there was a sort of point where like, how many actors do we have to do?
100%.
But it was fortunate that kind of coincided with me becoming an actor. So there was that interest at least. But to the average person, are they going to talk about craft again?
That's very funny.
It's like the guy's just listening in his car. It's like, I'm going to listen to Paul Dano talk about animal work. A penguin, huh?
Now they're just doing Alexander technique on the air.
Exactly. There's been jags like that where it's like,
for sure.
But fortunately, because Brendan, my producer, like sometimes he comes up with ideas and I learn things. There was a period of professional wrestling, which was not totally my thing, but it was his thing. But I can engage with that. Generally, I can engage.
Yeah,
but
we've engage with everyone.
We've also talked to almost everybody.
Yeah, probably. No show has had the quantity and quality you've had.
Crazy.
Like, I've dipped in and out over the years. Not out that often.
You were an early adapter.
I was an early adapter. I was on the show for that first time live at Comics, I think. Back before before you even thought.
Before we did the one-on-one?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, there's definitely a live one.
Different episodes had different formats, right?
Well, that was only to try to make money.
Yeah, 100%.
The live ones were, we had created a pay site so people would buy them because we were stuffing envelopes and doing tiered donations. I had a house full of envelopes with T-shirts and stickers for the high-tiered donors.
It's been you and Brendan since 2009?
Always.
Oh, wow.
He was always, it's just me and him, period.
Yeah.
And
I just mean he and you started it. Okay.
I've been with Brendan since 2004.
Wow.
I met him when he was 24 years old at Air America. He was an associate producer. Just come out at WNYC.
He was on Morning Sedition?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've known him since he was a kid.
That's amazing.
And for the first 5 years of doing this, he couldn't say he was the producer because he was working somewhere else with a no-compete or something, a non-disclosure or whatever.
Yeah.
But he couldn't own it. It used to drive me nuts.
That's so funny.
Because he was just he was the mastermind. He was the wizard. And I'm like, no, I don't know. I got this guy.
Yeah, I got this guy helping me out.
Yeah. This is the worst.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Are you going to miss the, I'll volunteer this. I would certainly miss the, hey, good show this week. From a passerby or a friend or an...
I don't know. I have a lot of people that have been sort of, because outside of the interviews, the narrative of me, has really made me very close to some people.
For sure.
On their side. And I appreciate that. And I don't know. That's the big question. Will whatever small amount of relevance I have in this culture, and we all sort of worry about relevance on some level, when that goes away, and part of it is delusional in my head anyways. But I always think I'm not quite relevant enough or, am I relevant? Yeah. But with this out of the picture, I'm sort of I could close my social media accounts and be okay.
Interesting.
I don't know, dude.
Why did that give us both a start?
I don't know.
Close our social media
Can you
account?
imagine?
We stared at each other like, whoa, now Mark's slow down.
I know. But I think it would be helpful and healthy. I'm going to be 62.
Yeah.
There was a time in this country where people were like, I'm winding it up.
Yeah, but not show people.
I guess not. They just keep going. And
Yeah, of
sometimes you
course.
look at them and you're like, why? Why?
Because why not?
Because like to me,
It's still fun.
to do it.
Yeah.
But sometimes
Or-
you may not know when you go out there, people are like, well, geez, he's...
That's where a little bit of when we're in that groove of inflated self-esteem versus crushing low self-esteem, that's why it's helpful.
I don't know, man. I just saw
You go,
some...
I think you hear that pop when I walked up there?
which one?
No, you.
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah,
tell
yeah.
yourself that.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you're 75.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, they were pretty surprised I was there. Yeah.
As you're looking out at an audience of 75-year-olds.
And still asking them at the cellar to act like you're a special guest. Hey, anything can happen here.
Yeah.
Even this old ass man can walk up here.
Well, they can, dude.
Yeah.
And they do. I just saw footage of Angus Young.
Yep.
And for the first time in my life, I'm like, ugh, uh-oh. He's this fucking little old man.
Sure.
And it's like hard. And I did a whole bit about the Stones on that level. And it's just, there's something about your heroes pounding on.
Yeah.
That it makes, you want them to be immortal, God damn it.
You do, but I guess I'm one that always wants people to either reunite or go back out on tour.
Seriously?
Oh, yeah. I always want people to come out of retirement and do something.
Really?
And then I think as a fan, it's never enough. Like I'm always, I
What are
always
you
want to
expecting?
Keep going. What am I expecting?
I guess it's something to do with my own sense of mortality that I get kind of squirrely when they get old.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Where I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like that bit I did about when the day that Mick falls down, when he's in the middle of it, and then you got a room full of baby boomers going like, that's over.
Yeah.
He's down.
He's down. Yeah. Everyone fanning him with menus.
Yeah. You okay, buddy? You okay?
Yeah.
But the frailty of it all, I don't know, man. How's your stand-up?
Well, it was sort of slightly neglected when I was busy with some other things, and then I've been doing a ton of spots because I've been doing longer monologues on this Netflix show.
And I appreciate that.
So I started kind of working at it like
I appreciate the effort of that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Because
it's been fun to do.
There was a period there where I thought, I had a pilot for a talk show many years ago at Comedy Central.
Yeah.
Back when it was still half run by HBO. I did a pilot for Comedy Central in probably 2000 and I don't know. Whenever, when it was before The Daily Show started. They went with The Daily Show.
Okay.
And I did something called the Marc Maron Project.
This was after
Short attention span. Right. And Chappelle was my guest and Steven Weber. There was a big,
Yeah.
But Chappelle was still like a kid almost. And I was going to the Museum of Broadcasting and watching Jack Parr shows.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to figure out how to do the long monologue.
Yeah.
And if you could hold it, like if you could keep it compelling.
Yeah.
Enough for people to want to go for the whole arc.
Yeah.
Was that your feeling?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Could you hold them, and could you relax out of having a monologue cadence?
Yeah.
And would they follow it? Right. And that's not groundbreaking. Other people have done that, but it was, I just wanted to see, Richard Kind announces me.
Yeah.
We've just had the titles, energy.
Yeah.
And you want to go, welcome to my show. Yes, this is the only show on Netflix where punchline.
Yeah.
And then kind of
tell a story.
Yeah, tell a story, get out of that.
Yeah.
And again, and tell it to the camera too.
Yeah.
As well as the folks in the room.
Right.
And just feel like, we all have a bit of patience right now.
Yeah.
As we go somewhere with
as we enter this.
Yeah.
This, we don't know where it's going to go.
No, not totally.
And
we don't know if it's related to that night's themes. We know it's not related to the news.
Now, in the conception of this thing, how many have you done now?
As of today, we've done 11. We're doing the 12th on Wednesday.
And that's it?
That's it.
Have they said we're doing more yet?
Yes, there was a plan to do more, and we're figuring it out.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you gonna?
I never know what to say to that.
Well, here's the question.
I'm just thinking about,
you're thinking about Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Wednesday,
No.
yeah.
Well, here's the question though.
It's been very enjoyable, and it's been very enjoyable, and I have really felt the 12 weeks in a row.
It's a lot. Imagine if you're doing it every day.
Yes, though, we would scale back what we were doing if we were doing it every day.
Right. But I guess my question is
60 minutes of it's all us. You know, no commercials, no.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So,
but I guess my thought is at some point in the career of a comic, you realize the jobs that are available to you. Mm-hmm. You do stand up, and that usually means, well, if you're not going to be a writer, you're available to host things.
Yes.
That's a job a stand-up does.
Yes.
You can have a show centered around you.
Yes.
All right, now you've done all of this stuff.
Yeah. Now you've done all of the things available. All two of them. Yeah.
Three.
Writing.
Oh,
some acting.
Hosting. Being center of a show. Yeah, that would be the acting.
Yeah.
And then just your stand-up. So there's really 4
Wow.
things.
Hey.
Yeah.
I think Brian Regan, for a lot of us, had a different path of you can be an industry out on the road. And then you, Marc Maron,
can be an industry in my house.
Created a 5th one, yeah. The 5th estate.
Yeah.
You really did.
Yeah, I've created an entire culture of entertainment fueled by, aspiring afternoon drive time radio personalities.
It is amazing.
It's just you flip on your phone, and depending who you're following, you'll see 3 or 4 white guys sitting behind mics talking about the first time they shit their pants as an adult.
Well, I'm glad you never got a couch. A lot of these shows started having a couch with mics.
Well, we're just audio.
You're still a desk.
But we're just audio.
Oh, that's right. There's no fucking YouTube to this. That's so relaxing.
Yeah. And we didn't, it was not what we do. We're audio guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you feel you did with this format?
Oh, I love doing this format.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt like making 12 specials using the talk show as a format.
Yeah.
I once did this children's musical special, and it felt like I'm taking something like Free to Be You and Me. It was really fun, yeah. I'm doing a comedy special of my stuff, channeled through Free to Be You and Me with Marlo Thomas. This felt like some kind of evergreen, weird, not quite any era talk show that also is trying to be, that's also a variety show in some ways. That's also trying to be like Jules Holland or David Sanborn, Jules Holland, Night Music, and trying to feel very loose and then trying to feel very produced. And we just got to
try a lot of shit.
Try every speed too. It was more more than just that we got to try a lot of bits and jokes and have guests on. It was more we just got to try whole episodes where it felt very shoestring and then episodes where we were blowing it out production-wise. Right.
Now, let's hypothetically, you say, all right, I'll do 12 more, but these are this is what I've learned. This is how we're going to move forward.
Yeah. You know what's great about that?
What? I don't
As of no learning. The first 6 we did last May during the Netflix festival, it was a joke, but it also just became true. There's no time to learn. We were just doing the show that was in front of us.
Right.
And there was in a way that I really am proud of. There was little things we learned worked, we didn't do again.
That's always good.
In large part. Yeah.
Why do what works?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But because other people are offering that if you want to see that. And that's great. Go, oh, this type of bit worked. We'll just do tonight. Next week's episode will look like all the most refined parts of the first 5 weeks of episodes. Right?
Well, there was a lot of talk about how, or a couple of people I said, well, they're finding their legs.
They're finding their legs.
It's sort of like what Conan did.
They're finding their groove. Yeah,
for 4 years.
They seem to be finding a rhythm, and
But and I kept watching, and I'm like, they're not though.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. I really do. Because 2 reasons. 1, we weren't. 2, anytime you say they're figuring it out, not a bad side, a side of me comes out. They've found their groove. Fuck you. No, we haven't. Yeah. I'll do it blindfolded.
And also when they say things like they're figuring out, it's just a diplomatic way of saying it's not good.
Oh, I think they just say it's not good when they don't like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think we're no longer living in the decent era of, they're figuring it out.
I think people want the best for you, John.
Oh, that's nice.
They want you to, you got fans, and they're like, yeah, he'll figure it out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I thought you meant, well, sometimes critics like to say, like, they found a groove, and it's almost them saying, like, because they took our notes.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. What has been...
And that's the most exciting thing to then sabotage.
Yeah, didn't listen to you at all. Didn't even read it.
Yeah. Oh, no, read it.
Yeah.
Thought about it.
Yeah.
Rejected it.
I hate when
advice read, advice rejected.
Well, I don't like when critics are correct. It bothers me because it feels like I have a blind spot.
Oh, but like, do you find when they're correct that it's something you already had thought of?
Well, no, I think sometimes if I trust the critic and they assess my work,
even
if it's a good review, there's usually that one paragraph.
There has to be.
Just to keep their edge.
And
where
they need
take
to
a
show
shot.
their face at wherever critics hang out, they need to keep their head held high.
That's right. There's the three critics that really exist. But I often think about the one thing that they're sort of critical of in a real way, and I kind of mull it over. Yeah. And sometimes I've learned things like they're from critics that I think in retrospect were probably correct. I don't think I listened to them at the time, but eventually it turned out to be kind of right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, what has the critical response been?
We've had some really, really dead-on, excellent pieces written about the show that I think have captured that there's something intensely personal about it, even though I'm working with 8 amazing writer-producers who are, the voice of lots of pieces. That a couple people, my favorite pieces were zeroing in on, well, 2 favorite types. Zeroing in on, they're just kind of, this show is just kind of going where it wants.
Yeah.
And they, in a mature way go for better or worse.
Right.
They're just going, he wants to talk to John Cale and Maggie Rogers. He's going to.
Yeah.
You were there that night.
Yeah. Give that a try.
I got my own show. There's no way I'm not gonna talk to John Cale.
Yeah. It's funny though, because for the most part, it seems you forego segment producers when it comes down to guests. Mm-hmm. Like I'm pretty reliable. You didn't have, but I know how to work with a segment producer
for sure.
But I think that on another show, if someone was going to talk to John Cale, they would be like, "Well, let me just see what he's got."
Oh
no,
you
didn't do that.
No, no pre-interview.
Yeah,
no social media ask.
Right.
We try to make it a very light lift for guests.
Yeah.
It's also it's a talk show designed by someone that's been on a lot of them, and so we did without some of the things I find inconvenient, such as preparation.
But do you think that works out when you don't have a produced a pre-interview?
For me, it really does, and I'm not trying to be naive that a meandering conversation.
Oh, so it keeps you engaged.
It keeps me engaged. It's also, I just had to look at it like there are 5 guys out there who do that so well.
Right.
They do it really well.
Throw to stories, basically, and then make jokes.
Are just excellent at knowing I'm going to get this guest to do this, not just tell the story or do this bit or go over this piece of, go through this news item about them, but we're going to do it in 3.5 minutes or 4.5 minutes. Yeah. It's a real art.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people doing that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to, one of my favorite moments in the whole series was Tina Fey was on. And spur of the moment, I went, "Do you collect anything?" And she went, "No." And I went, "Neither do I." And then there was like a 1,000. And then we moved on to the next topic. And there's something about, what Larry King used to feel like.
Sure.
Where he'd be talking to a caller, he'd have on Andy Rooney.
Yeah.
And Andy would go, "What are you talking about?" He went, "No, am I wrong?" And he'd go, "Yeah, you're wrong." And then they'd move on.
Yeah. Did you ever do an interview with Larry King?
I did what was the internet
I
show?
did that too. Yeah.
It was fun to meet him.
Yeah, it was fun to meet him. And then I also interviewed him at his house, which was not a great day. Because I walked in and he goes, "You're late."
Oh, interesting.
And I was, because I had the wrong time. And it was a tough opening 10.
I know. I've had those in my life. I've had a healthy amount of that.
Yeah.
Sorry I'm late, the traffic. Well, that's why we leave early. Go, okay, shit. I'm a grown-up. Come on.
Yeah. Traffic is no excuse in Los Angeles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's why you map it.
If you got to go down to Culver City, you better leave the night before.
But I think it's always been more fun to be as surprised by a guest as I am by a caller.
But Larry pressed. You're not
Larry
a presser.
pressed with a lot of incorrect information.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you don't think?
Yeah.
He had on Andy Rooney once, and he goes, there was just another high profile kidnapping. Let's say Elizabeth Smart. And he goes, Andy, why are there so many kidnappings? And Andy goes, what are you talking about? He goes, there's more kidnappings now than there used to be. He goes, no, there's not. There were always kidnappings. He goes, aren't there more? And he goes, no. And then without missing a beat, he changes topics. He goes, should the Pope resign?
Yeah. That was it. Just one question after another.
Yeah.
It was not.
Aren't there more kidnappings? But there's always been kidnappings.
And that's because he was with a peer and they actually had a moment of conversation.
Yeah.
As opposed to Larry just going, what do you think?
Exactly.
No, yeah. I just rewatched. I just realized a good analogy for your show in a way. There was because there
a good analogy.
Well, look, if you watch the old Dick Cavett shows, there's a lot of awkwardness.
In the sitcom?
No, the Dick Cavett talk shows.
Oh, Dick Cavett. I think I meant Dick Van.
No, Dick Cavett.
Dick Cavett. Oh, for sure.
And the audience was rarely laughing. You didn't get the feeling they were there half the time.
You didn't get the feeling that anyone felt the role of a studio audience is to be laughing on steroids the whole time.
No, it was all
and applauding every beat.
Yeah, and some of those British shows, and and there's a bit of that in your show.
Those are very comforting to me.
Yeah.
If something of note happens and it's very funny,
good.
There's a big studio laugh. There's applause when something, Robbie Hoffman climbing over to the couch in 2 seats. It was a very funny, spontaneous moment. But you did feel like it's engaging to have this audience here. It adds electricity, but we're not here to make sure everything is...
Well, that's interesting because that's almost rebellious at this point.
I don't know if it's rebellious, but it was something I thought, I know this melody in my head and I'm not seeing it right now. And they gave me the keys to this studio, so that's what we'll do.
But I watched, there's one of my favorite moments in show business was Bob Dylan being presented with the Lifetime Achievement Grammy by Jack Nicholson.
Oh, yes, of course.
The best.
The best.
And when Chandling comes back out.
Yeah. Was it Bob and Jack are talking backstage about how they're going to do more TV?
Yeah.
It's really, it's great because Dylan seems to not. He tells that, he
does that thing about,
my father said.
Yeah, he said a lot of things.
Yeah. And even, was it like everyone will forsake you? Even your parents will, something like that.
He said that before that.
Yeah.
But there was that beat of it's like my father always told me. And he waits like 15 seconds. Yeah, he said a lot of things.
He told me something.
And then there's that whole weirdness where Jack doesn't really know where to stand while Dylan's getting the award and he's moving around.
It's great.
Yeah, it's great because what used to be just the human time frame is now kind of in the cringe column.
It's why I love the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction.
Yeah. Because none of them are used to talking.
None of them are used to talking. As you move down the line, also start with some of the fringe members and end with who we consider the front man.
Yeah.
Don't go the opposite way. But they always go the opposite way. And then they get into someone who didn't get royalties. Like, come on, Debbie, come on. Let me play. All right, fine. But they also, they couldn't have had more notice that they're going to get an award.
I know.
And they couldn't have prepared less.
They don't think to, hire a writer.
And people who are shocked, ingenues that win awards and are shocked.
Yeah.
Still, that once they get over the hyperventilating, they dial into a tight, good speech that we all agree on is a good way to give an award. And that these people just get up year after year and blow it.
So did you did you turn down the Oscars?
Hosting it?
Yeah.
I did, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the thinking?
Well, I was very flattered. They came to me.
Yeah.
Must have been last summer. And I knew Jimmy Kimmel wasn't going to do it, and they offered it, and it was honestly that I had a lot going on, and it's months and months of work.
Yeah. Because I think Conan did a great job. Probably
that's the thing. I mean,
the best job he's done on anything.
Yeah, they're two totally different topics.
Yeah.
And he came out and
Yeah.
he not only was so funny, but he elevated the show to the point that I almost convinced myself I had seen these movies, and I'd seen not a one of them.
Right.
I was like, yeah, this was a great year.
It was amazing. Yeah.
This was a great year.
It was a great year.
Yeah.
But he also did that thing where, like, because I know him for so long, and I was really worried that he'd start sort of, self-erasing, which he does. Like he'll do a joke and be like, and he'll kind of, take it apart.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
It's an insecurity. It's a habit he does. And he'll start playing with his nipples and dancing around or whatever. So, like, the first, the first couple of jokes, I noticed him starting to go that way. And then I'm like, come on, don't do it, dude. And then he just kind of like, whoa, just locked in and owned the fucking thing. Like I'd never seen it.
Well, it's the same thing I thought at his Mark Twain Awards. I went, oh, he has stature.
Yeah.
When he's out there.
Yeah.
It's just this thing that has come to some of those in our business where you go, that's Conan O'Brien.
Yeah.
And he's in control.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing thing.
It took a long time. Yeah. It wasn't always natural for him.
But it was to me as a fan. I was
sure.
like,
Yeah, he's the guy.
Honestly, there was no point where I thought Conan's show wasn't great. Like I sort of knew later through Rolling Stone or Bill Carter or something that he was, struggling. But as someone watching it,
just as a comic, I was like, because you were a kid, but we were comics, and we were the sort of like, what? Why this writer? Who is this guy?
Yeah,
it's a comic's job.
Yeah.
But but whatever. It felt like it was a time where it's like that's generally a comic's job. So there was actually this envy of like our job being taken somehow.
That's very funny.
It's true, though.
Really funny.
It's a different time, buddy.
Different time.
So you're going to do stand-up.
I like it very much.
Yeah.
But I'm in a bit like, after your last HBO special, do you forget in between specials how to what? No, but the one before the one you just taped.
Yeah.
I'm talking about what's been released to the public.
Yes, sir.
Did you forget how to...
Do you
forget how to do stand-up in between?
I'm afraid that I forget it after 2 weeks, but it's all pretty mental. I think it's not forgetting, it's a rustiness, because after a certain point, there's some part of you that lives up there, and he'll generally show up.
Yeah.
But, sometimes he's not jiving quite right if you get a little out of practice.
Yeah.
Like, I believe you have to keep that channel open to talking to an audience.
Yeah.
But if that goes away, then there's a little bit of like, all right, so you guys are waiting for me to do something.
Yeah.
But then the other guy steps in and goes, I got it.
Yeah, there's always this solid, he's not a trick pilot, but he can land a plane, and he comes, we're not breaking new ground tonight.
Right.
This isn't a memorable set.
Yeah. But
this isn't Tig at Largo.
Yeah.
But we're going to land the plane. It's going to be okay.
It's going to be well, you got to take the hit. That's the hardest thing, really.
Yeah.
And fortunately, when you come out of the special, your confidence is pretty high. So you can take a few hits.
Yeah.
After that.
Well, then you schedule that first show where you'll have to do an hour.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you just keep thinking about the special going, wait, that's in there too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I added some stuff to it since then.
Oh, I know, the worst. The worst.
Where you find a tag
I do it
later?
every time.
Yeah.
Yes, I record it.
Yeah.
Then I have a few more dates.
Yeah.
And suddenly the burden of the special is off.
Yeah.
So I have this more fertile mind.
Yeah.
Come up with some great tags.
Yeah. And
sometimes I figure out how to finish a story that I recorded. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I found a couple of things the other night and I was like, God damn it. That would have been a nice callback. Was it at the store or was it? Yeah, I think it was at the store. It's all I've been doing since I got back. Yeah, I was able to put a couple of things together, and the thing was I was adding shit right up until the special the week before. Like
That's smart.
There were a couple of pieces.
Yeah.
That just kind of like there was a joke that was funny enough the way it was.
Yeah.
But I knew the tag wasn't right, but it was good enough.
Good enough, yeah.
And then 3 days before the special, it was delivered to me.
Oh, that's amazing.
Where it's sort of like, oh, it was right there.
Yeah.
And it's perfect.
And even if
in time for the special.
Even if you hadn't found the perfect one, it's great to just throw something in so that your brain is online.
Oh,
a little
totally.
more.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah.
We did Largo right before you went to Brooklyn to do it.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah,
I remember you
close.
saying, like, I'm not going to run the hour. And
Yeah.
I thought, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
You
And
don't want to be too...
I didn't, I don't think.
I don't think you did.
Yeah. But I did 3 club shows in Vermont, the week before.
Okay.
And because I had a whole week and I'm like, what am I doing? I got to shoot a special that Saturday. I'm just
Yeah.
sit on my ass in New York for a week.
Yeah.
So I did 3 shows at Vermont Comedy Club. And then I did 1 theater show in Portsmouth. But it was so funny because I'm like, this is where just do it. Do it at a comedy club. Don't riff around with the audience.
Yeah.
Just stand before them
Yeah.
with that detachment one has when they have a completed thing and fucking do it, which is not my habit.
Right.
My habit is always to sort of I'm going to feel them.
For sure.
And I was like, be a professional, fuck them, do what you've prepared, and that's that.
Isn't that what you said about your first half hour?
Yeah.
HBO half hour was that you were like, I'm just going in, I'm not preparing.
Well, that was that, yeah,
Yeah,
and it feels like that, and it was like, but I don't know if it's this medicine I'm on, but I was not frantic at all, and I knew the shit like top to bottom, and I had no fears of the material at all, and because I had done those 4 shows before I went with that focus,
Yep.
of did make some decisions, like I knew going in that the political stuff up front, that it's my nature to become sort of swaggery and self-righteous with that type of material, and I made a decision, I'm like, try to just do it like casually.
Right.
And see how that works, because then you won't have to switch gears so hard.
Yeah.
And I made that note a week, in that week before, and I did it that way.
That's amazing.
Oh, whatever. I'm just toot my own horn.
Well, you had also already run it, so you could.
Sure.
do it.
Yeah. I could move it. I could play with it a little bit.
Yeah.
So what else is going on in terms of how's your fucking head, dude?
Pretty good. Pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not squirrely.
Not squirrely.
How long you got sober now?
December will be 5 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say.
You get your marbles back? That thing? Or what? No?
No, I have a darker one of those.
Go ahead.
Don't kill yourself in the first 5 years because you'd be killing the wrong person.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that.
That's a good one, right?
That's a great one.
That's not in the book.
No, I don't think it is.
That one.
It might be in the end of the NA book when it's like, different people who wrote in.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. The stories.
Yeah, the stories.
Yeah,
the stories at the end of the new NA book.
That one always got me. And then there was one I heard, God doesn't wake up and think he's you. That's a good one.
Very funny.
You like that one?
That's very funny.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah. But are you actively doing the thing?
I'd say I'm in a good amount of
recovery
talk and work, yeah.
With the dudes? You got some dudes?
And well, the biggest thing is I see a great psychiatrist once a week.
Oh, yeah, like a psychiatrist, full doctor.
Full doctor.
Oh, look at that.
Addiction specialty.
Oh, yeah.
That can cover many other things.
Sure.
And it's like, no, squirrely, no. The obsession's gone.
Thank God. That should go by 5, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fucking gift.
I don't exist in a lack of drugs,
Blow.
or just like
any of it. Yeah,
a Klonopin to fly home from
you can't do it
from penguins in Cedar Rapids, or landing and having to finish a draft of something, so I need 60 milligrams of Adderall.
Right. You just do coffee?
All of that.
You do coffee?
I do lots of caffeine.
Yeah, lots of it. And I'm eating these nicotines again. A lot of nicotine.
Did you ever stop?
I did. I stopped for like 3 years.
Really?
Yeah, now I'm on a mixture of lozenges and the Zins. Yeah, I stopped totally. And it was fine, though. It was fine.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know what's not fine about it? It's that sort of like, how do I reward myself?
Yeah, for sure.
It's really
I have one non-alcoholic beer after each episode of the talk.
I've been drinking those.
Yeah.
And I never used to.
No.
But now they're better.
They're better, and it just feels, for some reason, I could never handle like a virgin anything. This somehow feels more grown up.
Well, the beers now, like there's people putting a lot of thought and heart into the non-alcoholic beer beverages.
Yeah.
They taste like fucking beer.
Yeah.
They don't taste like almost beer.
Yes.
They're not lacking.
No, they're not. They go through the process. I believe they actually go almost up to the fermenting process and stop.
Right. Yeah.
Versus creating a fake drink that tastes like beer.
Yeah, I just because I've been thinking about it like drugs lately, because I think I saw some on TV or whatever, but it really is about that knowledge that has to be drilled pretty far into you that you can't even do one thing with any safety at all.
Not at all.
Yeah. But it's
I don't think there was never a point in the past 5 years where I deluded myself at all that I could do what I never for a second thought, maybe I'll just do this time.
But even when I think about
the question was early 2020.
Yeah.
Like, well, do I just dive back into oblivion?
That's right.
But it wasn't like I could probably boot some Adderall every day and then come down with a Xanax.
Yeah.
It was never that.
No, you always knew, am I willing to commit my life to this again?
It was like, am I becoming Batman?
Yeah.
Because I'll have to get all this stuff.
Yeah, the lights in the sky.
Yeah, I'll be spending money, I'll be out late, and I'll be
lying.
I'll make mistakes, and people will be like, that bad night, and I'll be like, trust me, it's all part of a plan.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I think about with not regularity, but I think when I get old and my responsibilities change, couldn't I just smoke weed all the time?
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, because there's that slippery slope. Hey, it's legal, and it doesn't ruin your. But
legal never. Yeah.
But
most things I did were legal.
That's right. That's booze is legal too.
Just needed a prescription.
But the weed now, and just knowing that if I did it, it's always like it's not like maybe I'll just do a hit. It's like I know that if I do that, that's going to be my life
for sure.
That within 2 days, I'll be like, I got to go to the weed store.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It's like buying sunglasses.
Yeah.
I just can't stop. I freak out when I don't. One of the greatest gifts is now I have a phone and car keys and I guess a wallet.
Yeah.
And that's it. The lack of having to make sure I have something on me is also quite a joy.
Yeah, I got that with I get that fixed with the Zins. The panic of and then
you get the panic and the reward of I remembered them.
Yeah. And the phone gives you that too. I mean, if you don't know where your phone is, that's a rough few minutes.
I guess so. Yeah.
Where you're like, oh shit, did I leave it at the? But
I have this weird thrill now where I hope I've lost
the phone forever.
Yeah. With
the Zinzo now, because it's illegal, the self-flavored ones in California because of the kids, I had to find a guy that's got them. So now I got the 2 layers of drug.
Right. Yeah.
They're like, where'd you get the peppermint ones? I got a guy. Yeah. That's okay. So it probably feels good to have a guy. And he's got rules no, come on, man, it's 9 p.m. He's got hours and standards, It's a little early in the day, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's a little
No, they
early.
just got to know you. You go through the first 2, and they give them to you, and then they know you, and then they don't look weird when they're going under the counter.
Yeah.
It's not a street corner thing. It's
it's
a store.
It's a store.
And
which one, by the way, if I know you talk about it in your special, what medication are you taking? Or do you?
I'm just taking the Busporin.
Oh, which one's that?
It's a sort of a small net dopamine thing that's for anxiety. It's not like a full SSRI.
Oh, interesting.
But it just works on this one area. And I think it's the joke I had about it being adverse to SSRIs is the doc says, well, there's this other stuff I can give you that generally doesn't work for people. I'm like, I'm like, that sounds like the right drug for me, doc.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, because I didn't want to have any of the brain fog or any of that stuff. But I do think
it's funny. There's also these things like MAO inhibitors that were sort of the precursor of antidepressants.
Yeah.
But you can't eat certain cheeses.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Certain foods would have a terrible chemical reaction with them.
It's like grapefruit and statins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my doctor was like, oh, they're probably the best drug. People just couldn't handle not eating the cheese.
Oh, really?
I was like, wow, people really.
Do you do a thing? You got one?
I take Wellbutrin and Zoloft.
Wow. So that balances it out because Wellbutrin will jack you up a little bit.
So I can't recall if I ever had that, but maybe it was.
It used to be marketed to help people quit smoking under a different name.
Yes.
What was it called? It started with a Z, I think. And then you learned that it was like, it's just Wellbutrin.
Was it Chantix?
Chantix, maybe, yeah. And I remember I was on that, and it definitely jacked me up. But everyone's going to respond differently.
You know, I started Wellbutrin at a time when I still used a lot of amphetamines.
Yeah.
And
oh my
so
God.
I don't recall.
Right. And it's working for you, this combination?
It has been, yeah.
No side effects. You're not going to get fat.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
So if there's a side effect, I'm so used to it.
Yeah.
I think I had some stomach issues with Zoloft, but they went away.
Yeah,
and I might reduce Zoloft. In fact, I am currently reducing Zoloft a little.
Yeah.
And I haven't noticed anything yet.
You know, I'm interviewing your wife tomorrow.
Yeah, I know.
Isn't that wild?
That's wild.
Yeah. How's that going?
Great.
Okay. Good.
Oh, so good.
All right. Take it easy. Don't.
No, you asked. I'm telling you.
Okay. Well, I'm good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't want you to overkill it.
I know.
And so people go like, I don't know.
I know.
All right.
I know how the public works. I understand perception.
I'll tell you one thing, and I'll tell her tomorrow. She's fucking great in this show, dude.
She's great on that show.
Great.
Really, and just wait. Just wait.
Till the last one?
Well, you'll see.
Well, no, I've watched all of them.
Oh, to the last one. Oh, yeah, you're in the media, yeah.
I mean, because I got to talk to her.
I'm talking to your listeners.
And I haven't seen, well, by the time we put this up, it'll all have been aired. But I haven't seen her in a long time do stuff.
Yeah, and after we had our son, and then she was diagnosed with cancer. She was not working for,
and she's all good
3 or 4
for now.
Years. She's still on a course of treatment that will be a few years.
Oh, really?
But they did catch it, though it was aggressive. They did catch it at a good.
Oh, good.
I don't know if there's any good, but
yeah.
The short answer is she's got. You know, you just don't say in the clear yet.
Yeah. I get it. But she's so fucking good.
She's
in this
great on
show.
that show.
It's like, it's not even like, because I don't know her, it's not like, it's a perfect role for her. She just acts the fuck out of it.
Yeah, I talked to her in between, she'd come home, how was it? I sort of was vaguely aware of what the show was about, but like, she makes the most interesting choices. And when I've talked to her about running lines for something I'm doing, the thing I always think to do is change the words.
Yeah.
I go, well, I know how to get the emotion across. I'll just change every word you have here. And I'll put it in a different way.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to watch like a real actor who can
work within the words.
Yeah, work within the words.
Yeah. I think
I only realized that recently. I thought, you're figuring it out with what they wrote.
That's the job.
Whereas I'm like, I'll show up 10 minutes early and go, hey, right here, can I say this instead?
Yeah.
I wrote some pretty good lines for your script.
Yeah. I know you guys are writers, but
I know you guys are writers.
I'm
also a writer. I did a little sketch comedy.
And the kids, how's that treating you? How's it changing you?
I don't know if I changed. I doubled.
Yeah.
Like I expanded where I can do. I almost feel like I can do more. It less of a trade-off and more like I've just become.
You integrated it.
Yeah, but also I genuinely feel like my brain doubled in size. Like we knocked a wall down.
Well, it's the kid wall.
And there was all this space.
Well, also, like, I think that you're wired for the emotional connection if you're a normal human being.
Yeah.
Like you have kids and the part of you that goes, you're supposed to love them should kick in pretty quick.
Immediate. It wasn't even that. It was, hi again. That was the real feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with my daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know you.
Yeah. And you're going to be here a while.
Yeah.
And
we have the sweetest, funniest, nicest kids. I tell you this, like, you can't oversell it because it sounds disingenuous.
No.
I'm in a very, very happy time.
Yeah?
I'm in a really happy time.
Aren't you glad you can appreciate it?
Yeah, I totally can. And I find I can be more of a psychopath in my work because I go home and I go, oh, these people really like me.
The show's over. I can just be myself.
Yeah.
Like
everyone here really likes me.
You don't believe everybody else, though?
Whatever.
It's just different relationships.
This is a different relationship.
Yeah.
You know, because they're my children and wife.
Yeah. I guess you gotta suck, kind of take it in while you can, because from what I understand, there are periods where they might not like you as much.
Yeah, there are times.
Yeah. Do you think of yourself as a teenager? Like, I put my parents through hell at certain points.
Yeah, I had a slightly different relationship where I was trying to keep my parents separate from whatever I was doing.
Yeah.
That was a problem. And I really felt like I felt quite noble in this pursuit.
You figured it out.
And when I would get caught, when the two would meet, I would get mad at my parents because they weren't giving me credit for how much I tried to keep this away from them.
Yeah.
I was like the head of the CIA talking to the president, like, do you know what the fuck I do over here? It's not for you to know about.
Yeah.
Get out of my personal life.
Yeah.
I remember thinking as a kid, I'm going to try to keep my personal life separate from my family.
And you're pretty successful at it, apparently.
Well,
I mean, as you got older, it seems like the amount of surprise that everyone had, when you were kind of, when you hit the wall. Because, like a lot of people.
Oh, some surprise, yeah.
No, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of your inner circle, who were probably just concerned.
I had talked to months earlier. Remember that?
When you're trying to
early
get it.
Pandemic, when I was like, hey, about, how, you ever heard of relapse?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I gave you good advice. I imagine I did.
You did.
Yeah. But like, it's so funny because for somebody like me, I don't know if I told you this, when you went through all that shit, my response was like, well, good for him. That makes him much more interesting.
Yeah.
Like he's a real deal.
Yeah.
This guy's the real deal.
That was the first thing Lauren said to me when I saw him after all that. He went, oh, you finally became interesting.
That demon.
People were surprised, and also there is something about going through something very human in front of people where I mean, certainly I don't need to tell you that, but like there's also, rather than feel like, oh, are you all disappointed in me? There's this great extra familiarity with the audience from it.
Totally, because it's you float in this ether when you're not being candid on any level.
Yeah.
In your art, where that you're just you're boxed in and you're an entertainer. But then when all this human shit happens, you're going to get people that are like, fuck him. But most of the people are going to be like, nah, I had a brother I've been through that, or whatever they did.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah. How'd you handle all that fucking pushback when you got divorced?
So
you disappointed a lot of girls, I think, or something.
I don't recall exactly. I was focused on a couple things at that time. Yeah. One, I'm in like month 3 or 4
of sobriety. Yeah.
And I wouldn't even say I had to shut it all out because it all got back to me.
Yeah.
But the crisis at hand was, like I'll keep the boy alive. And then we are into the summer and my son's born in November.
Oh, yeah.
So what was happening
shift of focus
in my life was not, it didn't really rhyme with what was being said out there.
Which is like almost always the case.
Yeah.
Like what's being said out there is just this weird kind of, beast of its own.
Yeah.
It feeds itself.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you're going through the thing everyone's talking about, and sometimes you go, no, that's in the past, actually.
Yeah. You guys are going to have to let this go.
I have a whole other thing.
Yeah.
I have a whole other thing where I'm
trying to
chain
stay alive.
Smoking and
and trying to keep a kid alive.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these people are like, what an asshole. Like,
and be like, wow, without Coke, I've gained a lot of weight.
Did you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But you never got fat.
I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
A critic saw me at City Winery.
Yeah.
And he wrote, as if, it's so funny with everything I went through that I still zeroed in on this.
Yeah.
He wrote, he looks healthier. He looks heavier. And I was like, just the first part.
Yeah.
We don't need the second part.
His suit doesn't fit.
Yeah, his suit, the buttons are pulling. Just say he looks healthier.
But you get that kind of like weird rehab puffiness.
Oh my God.
Just
yeah.
like
I mean, I was kind of
plates of carbs.
I was quite a cigarette and amphetamine person.
What you were smoking?
All the time.
Really?
I quit a couple weeks. I quit in early November 2021.
But was that something you did as a kid too?
Yeah.
Oh, you smoked your whole life?
Yeah, I smoked my whole life. Yeah, I got a chest x-ray recently. And they said, how long did you smoke? And I thought, let's see, I was 13 and I quit when I was 39.
Me too, dude.
And they were like, 26 years. And I'm like, yeah, when you say it like that.
Yeah.
And I said, do you count the teen years?
Yeah.
And they go, yeah.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah.
14, I started when I was 14.
Yeah.
And I can't,
Did your parents smoke?
My mom smoked occasionally.
But it wasn't like a house where the kids are allowed to smoke.
No, but like my high school, we could smoke.
That's so interesting.
Well, there was like 3,400 kids in my high school. It was a public high school.
Wait,
what are they going to do?
Because it was because it was just unmanageable.
Outside.
Oh yeah, no. If
they couldn't stop them.
You would get Saturday jug. They called it if you. Were
no, they couldn't. They couldn't contain it. It's not like you could do it in the school, but you could definitely smoke.
Yeah.
I went to a camp where you could smoke.
That's so funny.
A music and arts camp when I was 15. I remember my aunt bought me a carton of Marlboro Red. Just smoking it up.
Just smoking at camp.
Yeah. And playing guitar. It was like the perfect thing.
I was always fascinated by those kids where you go to their house and they'd just be smoking and their mom would come in and ask for a lighter and everyone was smoking.
Yeah, it was a rare thing, but it was kind of amazing, wasn't it?
It was kind of amazing, and I couldn't have envied it more.
That they were normalized that much.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I guess I really quit in 2000 and, when I got sober, I think 99. By 2001, I was done. 63, 73, 83, 93. Yeah.
Do you look at it, sorry, do you have two periods? Is it like Comedy Store, Sam Kinison, then did you actually stop everything? Or were you not really, really sober till the early
Dude, it took me, the first time I got sober was 1987.
And that was like total abstinence from...
I went to rehab.
I didn't know that.
I left LA after that Kennison thing, and I was psychotic. I had coached myself into psychosis.
Yeah.
And, I was hearing voices in my head, and I had to leave because a voice told me. And,
Did it name the place you should go to?
Well, I just
go
away.
to Tucson.
I did go to Tucson.
Oh, very nice.
Oddly.
Very nice.
Because my brother was in school there.
Oh,
and I didn't know what to do. I packed up everything I had in my car, and I just left in a panic. And all I knew was like, I got to get a new passport because I'm going to have to get out.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know why.
Yeah.
But then I got home, and I'd gotten a month or a space from the store, and I said, I got to check in because I'm like, I'm at this weird point where if I don't have silver pinky rings on and a skull on my shirt, I'm going to be in trouble. I was out of my mind, dude.
Yeah.
So then I went to. I thought I was seeing the signs, man.
Yeah.
And but then
Skulls.
They were protecting me, and you'll see in all the early pictures there had to be some representation
of the skull.
Yeah, I had a little skull pinky ring, and I had a skull on my shirt, but then I would stay sober I never got the program, so I would stay sober for like a year and a half max. So I got out of rehab, went back to New York, started over again. Within a year and a half, I was using again. Went to California. Kind of like sobered up here and there. And then, again, I get totally sober for like a year and a half. It wasn't until I met, Mishna in, 99 where, she kind of walked me through the basic stuff about the program.
Okay.
Like I did not get the program.
Right.
So it took me whatever, like I've got 25 years this year? 26 years this year. So that would have been 99, but the first time I got sober was in 87.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of...
Your periods of abstinence then falling back then.
Yeah, but falling back. But by the time I met her, I was on the I was bloated and sweaty, and I had kind of resigned myself to the marriage I was in, and I thought my thinking was I was hosting a local TV show in New York I can't even remember the station. I'm like, all right, well, if I can just get jobs like this, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to be dead.
Yeah.
And then Mishna just appeared out of the clouds. And I'm like, I want to be with her. And it just so happened she was sober. I looked out.
Wow.
So all the basic ideas of, we were going to meetings 2-3 times a day. I had nothing to do.
Yeah.
So when I first got sober, you get that crew running around New York, doing 2 or 3 meetings a day, totally locked in, sponsored.
Yeah, no, I left the second rehab I was in, and my counselor was like, a minimum 180 in 90 days. You have to do 2 a day for 90 days.
Yeah.
He was like, there's no world where you're going to be fine occasionally going to a meeting. He's like, it's the pandemic. They're all on Zoom. You're going to go to a minimum of 2 a day.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was the thing that stuck with me. It's like, you got to put it first. And you're lucky the pandemic was happening in a way. Because to put your sobriety first, above and beyond everything else. And the belief that everything will fall in place after that is a solid thing.
Though with my ego, it was weird because it felt like everything shut down because I had a drug problem.
Yeah, I can't even get hold of my guy anymore.
Yeah, I was like everything. I was like, yeah, everyone's taking this hard, and we're all just pausing. But no one's going to work. Everyone's getting their food delivered. And you're like,
but wait, if I come over with a mask, can I still get the drugs?
Oh, please. I didn't even know that the nasal tests hurt until well after getting sober.
Oh, really?
Because people used to complain.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they stick it up there. And I was so numb.
Yeah. Oh, really?
That I'd go to get different COVID tests for things in the early pandemic. I was like, what are people talking
complain about? Yeah, it took a long time. And sadly, or maybe not, I don't go to many meetings. One of my best friends is, very sober. And I talk to him often. There's people I call, but I don't go to many meetings, and it probably wouldn't kill me. But I find that there's other issues. Like, I'm not worried about drinking or using drugs. Mm-hmm. But there are some weird, Al-Anoni, graduate level recovery that I could probably engage in. Then I don't quite do it. But I'm back in therapy. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And I'm old, dude.
But you're young.
Yeah.
Some people are not
old.
You're just you.
Right. Thank God. And that probably has something to do with my commitment to boots and no kids.
And do you wear any skulls now?
I don't, dude. I don't have any skulls.
So you're really vulnerable.
Very vulnerable. I don't have the constant reminder of death is firmly planted in my head now. So I don't need to stave it off with my skull shirts.
So are you going to go on a vacation come this fall when you're done?
I don't know if I know how.
I know. But are you going to try?
You think I should?
Yeah. You were doing the podcast, into the IFC show, into the podcast.
I did the podcast no matter what I was doing, dude.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I might spend time in New Mexico, but I don't know where to
somewhere else. How about somewhere? How about going somewhere else?
Well, we might have to leave.
Wait, do you mean like to see family or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, not so much
vacation?
To see family. Yeah, a vacation. I used to go to Hawaii frequently.
Hey.
I used to go to Kauai.
Like
but once
Chef Gordon.
Well, yeah, exactly. But once I brought the fourth girlfriend to Kauai, and I was saying things like,
land.
I've been here.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. Yeah. This land's very healing. I told that to my last 3 girlfriends.
Yeah, or wives.
Yeah.
I don't know. Where have you gone?
I do. Hawaii is great. What do I really like? You could go to Ireland.
I like Ireland. I went to Ireland with Lynn, and I go there to work. I didn't go this year. I'm kind of sad about it.
I was at the Kilkenny Festival the same time as you, I think.
That was a fucking nightmare.
It was?
Yeah.
You were going on runs. I remember you're the first person I knew that ran without music playing.
Oh, interesting. Interesting memory.
I just thought it sounded that you know what? That when you were asking about taking time off and being at peace with yourself. I have noticed that I cannot do most things in life without music playing or some audio playing.
I just find with exercise, running specifically, I mean, I understand the music thing, and I've done that a lot.
I remember you told me, you just listen to your breath. And I was like, that's...
But also, time goes by quicker when you don't listen to music.
Really?
Because, there's something about songs that measure time. I just find that if I'm running without music and my brain wanders like it does in real life, then all of a sudden time goes by. But like with songs, I'm like, all right, I know this next song.
Oh, right. Here's the bridge.
Right. Or whatever. Or, whatever your song list is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just crazy. That's weird that like I have been exercising for a long time. Yeah, Ireland is fucking great, dude.
Yeah.
Do you journey? Do you take trips with friends? Like I always picture you guys are like, I talked to Kroll the other day. I'm like, are you guys spending family time together?
Yeah.
You do? You bring the kids and all that stuff?
Yeah, well, our kids are close enough in age. And then Dan Levy...
he's got, what, 9 kids?
He has 9 now.
Yeah, wow.
Jesus. And they live in an ultra-Orthodox community on Beverly and La Brea. He's got 3, and his daughter, Penny, was born across the hall from my son.
Oh, wow.
Same night.
Isn't that nice, though? So do you guys do the whole, are you, like, traveling, like...
we'll do, like
Newhart and Rickles?
Yes. And then, I'll get some terrible New Year's Eve show, and he'll open the show, and we'll bring our families and...
Make a vacation out of it?
Yeah, and we always think this will be great. We'll get adjoining suites, and then it's just we're all in one living room with kids running around.
Yeah, not great.
Different kind.
But have you gone to Europe and stuff?
I have gone to Europe with Dan Levy, but it was for stand-up.
Oh, but never like let's bring the families skiing.
But we would. No, I won't ski.
Oh,
I'm not going to do that.
Have you ever?
Yeah, when I was younger, and now I think about
Comes
it.
right back. It's a little exhausting. You got to get weight on the line.
Look what happened to Tony Danza and that awful Michael Smith Kennedy or whatever.
Oh, the tree thing? Sonny Bono?
Doesn't it seem... It seems too wild.
Dangerous?
Yeah, it seems too dangerous.
All right. I get it.
Also, like, if... I will say this. We're talking about being in a great place in life. I do sometimes think, like, yeah, but what if you blew out your knee and you couldn't, work out and go do stand-up and do all these things?
And you had a pain medication prescription.
For sure.
But
I do think about that in terms of like any injury that would lay me up. I'm like, you'd be okay. You have a wonderful family and support system and a wonderful wife, but let's not pursue it.
Yeah, let's not
strapping
push
on
it.
Skis.
Yeah,
at the Aspen Comedy Festival.
Yeah, I had some dental work done. They gave me an oxycodone prescription, and it was one of those things where I know well enough about stuff, and oddly, I only took one.
Yeah.
The day of. And then I'm like, and then they sat in my cabinet for a long time. And then I didn't feel any craving or anything, but I'm like, dude, just throw them away.
Yeah. Why are they still
there? I threw them down the toilet, and I got 2 emails from fucking concerned, progressive, sensitive people that said, you really shouldn't throw them down the toilet because it goes into the water supply. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. We're going to throw them away. Like it's like people that, take the batteries and, paint.
The water supply.
Yeah.
It's going to get into the water.
Yeah, the oxycodone. Not the, tens of thousands of gallons of Prozac in people's piss. It's my oxycodone.
It's your oxycodone that will get the world, that will get all the LA tap water drinkers.
Yeah.
All the LA tap water drinkers.
Yeah. Well, I think they were primarily worried about it fucking up the almond groves.
Oh, we do need more almonds.
No, I don't know what they were worried about, and I understand their sentiment.
But that's so interesting that you just said, and then I threw him down the toilet and people got mad at me, and you left out the part where you told everyone on your podcast.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting piece of your life where you do an action and then
I talk about it.
You've even missed the,
Yeah, well, that's all going to be gone.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to know what people know anymore.
Hey, listen, if you miss it and you want to come back and do it, just come back and do it. Don't think because you did I assume, big farewell and countdown and everything.
Well, here's the thing.
You can't. I sometimes feel bad for people that
that farewell.
Feel trapped by their finale.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just don't want to do this without Brendan because this guy is a genius and he's been watching my back forever.
Yeah.
Just me talking without someone then taking the talking and making decisions after the fact, it's not always great. In terms of sometimes I'm too candid.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not always aware of what's going to cause trouble.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And to have a good producer Like I would say things on here, and while I'm doing my monologues, I'll say like, "You're probably gonna take that out," but all right.
That man, I have to say, he is quite good because the flow of it, I would never have guessed things are out.
Yeah, he's the best. So I don't think I'll do this without him. And so, and then the other thing is, it's like, well, you're an interviewer. There's jobs, you could do that. I'm like, why?
Yeah, why?
How am I going to do it as good as this? Like on a
what
TV.
Format and why?
Yeah. What's the point of it? Like I can't. What am I going to do?
Yeah, I don't know.
But I'm not. I'm just gonna. I'll do the stand up, and maybe I'll get better as an actor and do that.
And then if you ever want to interview someone, there's always terrible Paley Center panels and 92Y.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Whenever you feel like I'd like to host an evening.
Yeah, get me into the live moderating game.
Symphony Space, 92Y. Paley Center.
I've done those.
FYC events.
Yeah.
The future is bright, my friend.
Well, maybe I'll just kind of figure out a TED Talk.
Do people still do those?
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Good talking to you.
Hey, man, congrats. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah. There you go, folks. John Mulaney. I like that guy, and I feel like we're friends. Everybody's Live with John Mulaney. The episodes are available on Netflix. I think, as he said, we're not sure if there's going to be new ones, but go check out what they were up to. All right, hang out for a minute. Hey, folks, Full Maron listeners get a bonus episode tomorrow where Brendan and I go into more detail about our decision to end the show. We'll give you the whole story. Like, I don't really have any apprehension about our decision.
No, it's so funny because I walked over here and I was like, I was pretty sure that, we were on the same page.
Yeah.
But I didn't know 100% that if I said like the way I felt about it, like you might have a different feeling, or you might be like, wait, but end it entirely? Like, shouldn't we keep it going somehow? But like right away, I was like, I think the smartest thing to do is for us to end this. And you were like, yep.
Well, people have always said to both of us, in my mind, it was always going to, if anyone said, how long are you going to do it for? I'm like, as long as Brendan wants.
Yeah, and I said the same thing. Right. But so that then becomes a thing where we actually do have to figure it out. And oddly, I think we were both on the same page.
Well, it was that thing, what it was really, I think, because we have pretty good boundaries with each other, and, to our credit, nothing has ever really polluted our professional or personal relationship whether it was ego or wanting to do other things. But I think that conversation we had a few months ago about just the level of burnout we were operating at and acknowledging it, because I won't acknowledge that.
That's right.
And I think that you were sort of ahead of me in identifying it.
Yeah.
And how could it not be that?
That's right.
Because of the nature of my work and how I work and being self-employed, I never even factored that in, that it's even a real thing. That bonus episode posts tomorrow. For Full Maron subscribers. To sign up, go to the link in the episode description or go to WTFpod.com and click on WTF Plus. And a reminder before we go, this podcast is hosted by Acast. Here's some guitar that after I came up with it, I realized it's pretty close to a Cat Power song, but that's good. Frankie and the Fonda. Cat angels everywhere.